Six Flags and Cedar Fair, the merger, just passed a major hurdle by being approved by shareholders. We'll talk about it here on That Park Place. Well, hello and good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever this video actually comes out.
Hey there, hi there, ho there. You're as welcome as can be, no matter what time of day it is.
Oh, well, I do appreciate it, Lou. If you guys don't already know, Lou Wasserman's Ghost has graciously joined me, Vash Sky here, filling in for Jonas while he's on the road a little bit right there. So hopefully we can serve our viewers thus.
We'll have to ask him when he gets off the road. If we've heard his Randy Newman, does he do Willie Nelson doing On the Road Again? Ding dong, ding dong.
I think he does. Ooh, Randy Newman doing On the Road Again. Okay, I need that album, by the way.
Oh,
that's
wow.
gonna be great.
Jonas's Greatest Hits, Volume 43 from K-Tel.
Exactly. Speaking of greatest hits, here is a couple of companies with some greatest hits in terms of attractions right here. Six Flags Cedar Fair merger approved by stockholders. This is some big news right here. The vote was approved by 80% of eligible shareholders. This is a big deal right here because we had just actually recently reported, I believe on That Park Place, that this deal had some confrontation from some shareholders who said that they weren't going to get a say in how this was actually going to go about right here. So this passes a crucial hurdle. There are more to come, which we'll get into, but Lou, what's your initial take on all of this?
Well, this next paragraph is kind of interesting about how the process works, where they can vote, but they don't necessarily maintain control if they're in the minor partner, which is, they're really more or less equivalent. But right. See that they could make a lot of noise, but they couldn't necessarily do anything vote-wise. So anyway, it's a done deal. And it creates, as one headline I was telling you about that I saw put it, a playtime powerhouse in North America.
A playtime powerhouse, indeed. And a powerhouse, indeed, because my goodness gracious, I know you were doing some research yourself here, Lou, in preparation for this video. And when you look at the size of Cedar Fair alone versus Six Flags with so many parks, it's really hard to keep track of. There's a great article.
Cedar Fair has a total of 23 properties in the United States. And of those 23, 11 are Cedar Fair parks and 12 are water parks. And they're in California, North Carolina, Texas, Ohio, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, and Ontario, Canada. And, of course, the one near and dear to our hearts is Knott's Berry Farm. But it's quite a collection just on the one side. And then you go to the other side, and I've got that list here somewhere, too. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, Six Flags has 27 parks in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada, which is kind of interesting. And,
yes. I've heard those Mexico parks are actually really, really cool. They have some really unique coasters out there, from what I understand. But, I feel comfortable, more comfortable, touring the United States parks than I do Mexico.
I was going to say, how do you say OSHA in Spanish? I know how you say Reedy Creek. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, right. I guess we do have our...
For whom the inspection tolls overseas, it may toll for thee right here in the USA.
It's some fantastic stuff. Well, speaking of government regulation, this might be a little bit of a problem right here. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. This comes from Cleveland.com. Department of Justice launches antitrust review of Cedar Fair Six Flags merger right here. The U.S. Department of Justice is reviewing the proposed merger between amusement park giant Cedar Fair and Six Flags, a move that could delay or alter the deal. This was a little while ago. This was January 23rd, 2024. I still have to assume that this is ongoing right here. And as
I have to assume that they made some quiet entreaties to the Justice Department before they ever started this. It would be foolish not to.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, and there's reasons to have done this, both ways here, because this deal is really kind of I wouldn't say unprecedented in the realm of theme parks or amusement parks, but to have these two juggernauts that take up so much of the or that occupy so much of the regional theme park market is really quite stunning right here. In regulatory filings Tuesday, Cedar Fair acknowledged that the DOJ has requested numerous documents related to the quote proposed merger of equals, which was announced in November right here. The review is not unexpected, and Cedar Fair said it still anticipated the merger would be complete within the first half of 2024. It does pass a hurdle within the organization, obviously with shareholders, but
I would not anticipate there being an issue. They might tell him, hey, in this place where you have two parks side by side, you're a monopoly and get rid of one. But in those cases, they want to get rid of it anyway or somehow combine it.
Yeah,
they don't want to be competing with themselves. I mean, if they had a water park on one chain and a park in the other in the same place, that's a different story. But they don't want to split their own business amongst themselves.
Right. And some of the Cincinnati article actually goes into what might be some of the outcomes from this merger. Right. We can definitely speculate all day as to whether they'll keep it. I mean, for example, even Southern California, right? Six Flags Magic Mountain versus Knott's Berry Farm. Do you keep both of those, or do you run them in a way that in which they don't necessarily overlap in the same space?
Well, the issue also comes to, first of all, in that situation, they're far enough apart geographically and traffically, we might call it, that I don't think it's an issue. I think the issue would be that to compete with Disney, they might want to do some kind of combined annual pass system or something like that, sort of reciprocal rights between one park and the other. Right. That might get them in trouble with the DOJ. I don't know.
Interesting.
Hadn't thought about that because, as I was telling you earlier, I discovered that because this deal happened so late in the year, all of these parks, their normal annual pass pricing and perks and all that, it's all locked in for the rest of 2024.
Right.
So no changes in that can be done until 2025. And great, it's good for the people who bought it to be guaranteed they're getting the same deal and the same rights. On the other hand, these parks didn't get together because they were doing great. They got together because they thought they could do better together than they were doing. So if some of those pricing, and there's been a lot of criticism recently of Six Flags for their pricing structure.
Right.
If some of those are bad, it means they can't fix it till next year either.
Yeah, Salim Basul, the CEO of Six Flags, he went on a premiumization gambit a couple of years ago, I believe in 2021 or so, 2022. The idea was, we can do what Chapek did with Disney parks with our parks. That didn't quite work out as well as anticipated, and they stopped spending money on new attractions and so forth, and a lot of people were upset at the price hikes and the gouging and stuff that happened in that case. Go ahead, Lou.
I was going to say, we also have to remember that almost all of these parks shut down in the wintertime.
Right.
They're not year-round parks the way that Disney and Universal are.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. So Cedar Fair, you're right about that. Cedar Fair and Six Flags, many of these parks aren't year-round parks, but some of them are. For example, Knott's Berry Farm is a year-round park, and
it is. But Knott's Soak City shuts down in September until May, which is kind of strange considering weather in Southern California. Although it's not always hot, it's certainly mostly rain-free.
Well, very good point. And what I found very interesting is that Six Flags, because of some of their issues relating to their debt and obviously the visitation patterns changing under that brand right there, that Six Flags Magic Mountain, which was a 365-day park, has had to scale back significantly how often they're open, specifically in the off-season, basically on the weekends. And in the summer, it's very rare that you actually get a full week if you ever do.
And it's when they're making a calculation about, can we spend the money to put another coaster in or whatever?
Right.
It's a totally different ball of wax than it is for Disney or Universal.
Yeah.
When you're saying it's got to pay for itself, but it's only going to run from, for example, I happen to be looking right now at the listing for Canada's Wonderland in Toronto.
Right.
It opens on May 3rd and closes on September 2nd. It is a 330-acre park with 200 attractions, and it has 18 roller coasters. That's enormous.
Yeah.
And they can't make any money on it during the off season, except of course they have to maintain it against the terrible weather.
Yeah, that's another thing about these things is when you invest in big coasters like this, it really is a gamble. For example, like I think what is it? Intimidator 305 over there. I believe in Kings Island, was it, or Kings Dominion? I forget the park, but that was a big
lot of kings and no jacks.
Yeah, exactly right. It was a big investment for that park, and unfortunately, it just didn't do the business because the clientele wasn't necessarily interested, as it would have been maybe another park. But that was like a $15 to $20 million investment right there. And then, like you said, you have to maintain these things, whether they're running active, so the wheels, brakes, all those kind of things. But then when they're in the off season, you have to maintain them against the snow and rough weathers. So yeah, I mean, they're looking with this merger, they're looking to really kind of reduce those costs. A lot of their overhead, a lot of their management structures can be consolidated and so forth, and they would get additional savings there. But this is a big move right here, and we're really gonna have to track this one to see how it shakes out, because I think a lot of people are really resonant with the Cedar Fair brand because they've run their operation far better than Six Flags has in recent years. But yeah, I guess we'll see. Yeah. Well,
and as I was telling you, I actually attended the grand opening of Six Flags Magic Mountain, although it wasn't Six Flags. It was built as an independent park, which at the time was thought to be astoundingly daring in Southern California because, my God, what are you, nuts? There's Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm. Who needs anything else? Right, and at that period, I guess also Marineland, and then, of course, SeaWorld in San Diego. But I was remarking on the difference. When you look at these wonderful bioreconstruct shots of the building of Epic Universe, and you see that the trees have been in some places for 6 months or a year, and the park doesn't open until next year. I remember vividly going to that park on opening day, Magic Mountain in L.A., and it was, great coasters and buildings and all the rest, but God, it looked like a sparse desert that a drought had just hit because they just put the plants in, and it took it 2 or 3 years to really grow in well. But that's the difference between people who are, doing the right thing and people who are trying to do the right thing. And they were.
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess there are different slightly different standards when it comes to the price discrepancy between these parks now and the expectations on day one, and there's a whole lot that goes into it right there. But hey, Six Flags Magic Mountain ended up being quite a success right here. Hopefully it has some brighter days ahead. I am very, very optimistic about all this. But hey, please let us know in the comments below what you think about this whole thing. Are you optimistic about this merger, or do you think this is some dark times for both companies, interestingly enough?
And there's so many things attached to this. I'm just looking. I didn't realize next door to Cedar Fair is Cedar Point Sports Center, a 145,000 square foot state-of-the-art indoor complex for basketball, volleyball, gymnastics, cheerleading, wrestling. Obviously, that's where they go in the wintertime when the weather's too bad to go to the theme park. But that's a huge, huge property. My God. So there's the good thing about a merger like this is that in theory, if they're smart and they're good business people, they can consolidate operations, have the economy of scale work for them. But on the other hand, that's a neat trick, and you got to do it right. And when you have that many pieces, and they are so geographically spread out, kind of complicated, and you got to be really good business people. And it remains to be seen whether these people are.
Well, Richard Zimmerman, the current CEO of Cedar Fair, being involved in this deal so heavily gives me hope. It gives me optimism, because Cedar Fair has really done a great job, I think, in running their parks when speaking about the two companies and comparing the two right there. But thank you so much for watching this video right here. If you like what you see right here, please, before you leave, go ahead and leave a like, comment, let us know what you think, because we absolutely want to know what you think. I think a lot of people are kind of mixed on this right here, so we will be looking forward to those comments. And please subscribe and share this video out if you like it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. For all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.